That's right. That's the animated beginning for Batman. And I just watched the documentary. The link will be below, and I've got all the episodes. I've got all the DVDs, uh, and as I say, I watched it. But I, it was beyond me what sort of impact that they had on the character of Batman and the villains. Uh, I had I was well aware that that show created Poison Ivy, but I wasn't too sure on what impact they had on Mr. Freeze and the video that they made for it. And so I was gobsmacked when I found out that that they created the whole sort of backstory and gave it such and gave this sort of laughable character a more meaningful existence with with the death of his wife and everything else. And I remember growing up watching Batman the movie with Michael Keaton and thinking, yeah, that's close, but then was blown away even more so by the animated series. And I thought, why can't we not get what I'm seeing in the animated series in a movie? It's but what I didn't appreciate was the music. The music that was in every cartoon, orchestra and the risks that they took, because everything, like the comics, was censored, right? You had to have seatbelts on, jokes had to be monitored, what was allowed, you couldn't have fist fights or guns and everything else, and but the thing that got me the most and what we're facing today is back then people were taking risks, being inventive. They were allowing writers and the person in charge of the animation department, they were letting the writers and creators and the artists and everybody else go for it. They took a step back and they took chances and they took risks and it involved. There are people going to these conventions and seeing these artists and voice actors, and for them that's their generation of Batman heroes. Again, it spurred on Superman. I always regret not having more Superman animated TV series, or that they carried on with even more characters. The Justice League, for instance, was some of the well thought out stories. And I think what differs from these stories, these like Justice League episodes, Superman episodes, Batman, is they were very grounded and they were very original. Unlike most of the movies that Warner Brothers is taking out just now, I love the animated movies, but they were not. But there's very little originality there. I would love it if they brought out more of an original story from the people that are doing the animation, rather than books that's came out before. And it's, I want to know again what you thought of this, of the TV series. Was it something that you grew up on? Have you not seen it? Have you just bought the box set and was totally surprised how much it is? I mean, granted, the first series of Batman is quite dark and everything else, but we must realise they were up in the ante. They were changing it. This was a time where they were having sort of freedom to create. But unlike just now, where film studios are not taking those risks. Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone, once said in an interview that the risks he took making Rocky, it can't happen anymore. Studios is more and more of money making and not more of the risk taking. I only hope that in the future, with this new ATT division, with this new DC fandom, with the release of the Zack Snyder's Justice League, that the studios are willing to throw money and take risks and support creativity that Warner Brothers once stood for. We've got to let these directors have this sort of freedom. We must let these people that have made this movie, I just watched one in video on Amazon about the Fantastic Four film that never got released. It was called Doomed, and all the actors, and it was a very, very, very low budget, and finally I think you can maybe get a video of it or a DVD someplace, some knocked up version of it. But the people behind making that film of the Fantastic Four, they put everything into it on the budget that they had. They wanted to finish it. They treated it like a real film. But I think back then the studio didn't want to. It was just trying to wait for Disney to buy the rights to make their Marvel sort of universe. But when you look at the actors that even knew that the film had bad special effects, had bad sounding, they were still trying to put it out there. And that is the sort of commitment that we need, you know. And we got that from Zack Snyder as he helped fans promote the idea of his cut and David Ayer. And now I look back at DC animated Batman and think that was revolutionary. That was a group of people taking chances, doing things outside of the box. Producers saying, wait a wee minute, that is not how we normally do this. And now it's managed to influence generation of animators going forward. And we need something for this day and age. We need something that is going to push the envelope so we can have a more different feeling, a more different approach to heroes. Saying that, we already do. We already had that dating experience with Man of Steel, with BVS. We had a creator that was going to take these heroes, because Bob Kane once said himself that once he created Batman, he let all these other creators, creative geniuses and writers and everything else take his character and change him for all the years. He got changed and changed and changed and put their own interpretation into that character. And we must remember that when we go forward and we look at new cinema, when we go towards to see BVS, Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and then we have another Batman movie, Robert Pattinson, coming out. We must embrace these directors' vision. The studio must release the idea of control and support creativity, and and be daring to risk, because you'll be surprised with these creative story writers. And there was one scene in the video when there was a writer who wanted to leave Warner Brothers and was promised, no, don't leave Warner Brothers. We want you to come up with a story for Mr. Freeze. And he created the story. And then he came back to Warner Brothers, and he felt that he could let his mind go and write some of the best episodes. We need to go back. And what can we do to help? Well, we've already done it. We've released the Snyder Cut movement. But we can continue defending these movies, defending artists' rights. We can defend movies that we might not agree with ourselves, but we love the intent to be different, because nothing goes stale like things that are just that has got that is genetically made, that has been manufactured a certain way where there's no difference between one film and the other. And I spoke to one person recently who has who said he can't really watch Marvel films much now because he just feels that they're all the same. It's once you've seen one, you've seen them all, and that is why we need to keep reinventing, and putting fresh blood and fresh love into these products, like they did with Batman the animated series. So thank you, Bruce, Tim, Paul Dini, and everybody else. Was it Romero as well, that with the voice directing? Just thank you very much for all your inputs and your brave steps into a character. I believe this Batman animated series had even the same impact as the book The Dark Knight Returns. And we need that. We need that enthusiasm when it comes to the other DC characters. We need that daring step forward. As I said, when I seen Man of Steel, there was a guy sitting beside me and says, there's more depth to him now. I always thought he was a two-dimensional character. Take the risks, take the chances, be creative, and let's carry on supporting change. Start supporting creativity. Thank you very much for watching. Catch you next time.